because when you do it like that, it puts you in a state of calmness and peace and awareness and overall centeredness that allows you to not operate from a space of chaos and anxiety and transactional nature, right? You get out of the disconnected transactional viewpoint of how you operate with human beings and recognize that every person you interact with each day is a spiritual, harmonic, and energetic being.
Welcome to CREPN Radio for influential commercial real estate professionals who work with investors, buyers, and sellers of commercial real estate coast to coast. Whether you're an investor, broker, lender, property manager, attorney, or accountant, we're here to learn from the experts.
Welcome to Commercial Real Estate Pro Network's CREPN Radio. Thanks for joining us. My name is J. Darren Gross. This is a podcast focused on commercial real estate investment and risk management strategies. Weekly, we have conversations with commercial real estate investors and professionals who provide their experience and insight to help you grow your real estate portfolio. Today's program is sponsored by Building Insurance and Risk. When you invest in real estate, it pays to work with a real estate investor protection specialist to protect yourself and your investment from catastrophic loss. The experts at Building Insurance and Risk focus on real estate investor protection. They provide you with multiple insurance coverage offers and a side-by-side coverage comparison. To learn more, go to buildinginsurancerisk.com. Today, my guest is Christopher Schlierman. Chris is based in Arizona with a background in tech and real estate, and today is the president of Piranha Capital. And in just a minute, we're going to speak with Chris Schlierman about how to align your heart and mind. But first, a quick reminder, if you like our show, CREPN Radio, there are a couple things you can do to help us out. You can like, share, and subscribe. And as always, we encourage you to leave a comment. We'd love to hear from our listeners. Also, if you want to see how handsome our guests are, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. You can find us on YouTube at Commercial Real Estate Pro Network. And while you're there, please subscribe. With that, I want to welcome my guest, Chris Schlierman. Welcome to CREPN Radio.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Well, I'm glad you're here and looking forward to our conversation. But before we get started, if you could take just a minute and share with the listeners a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so born and raised in Los Angeles, California, in the Santa Monica area. So, you know, that the area is unfortunately up in flames right now. I know a lot of people personally have lost their homes. So, you know, first putting that out there, I hope that area is able to heal up. Number two, I started my career in tech and pretty much spent the first 7 years of my professional career just in tech, head down. Started a couple companies myself and was able to exit some of them. One was just break even and one actually got me a little bit of money. So, and then went the investment route, spent several years in the investment route, lost a lot during trying to go the investment route. Young kid trying to, compete with the big dogs who had a lot more money than I did. Lost a lot along the way, but I learned a lot along the way. Specifically in the real estate world, tried to go after real estate investing and approached it with the same mentality of like being a tech angel investor, and learned valuable lessons in how real estate investing actually works. Went back into tech briefly. Ran ops for a Utah company while I was moving down to Arizona, and got connected to my current partner that I'm working with. Was a client of that company. Fast forward like a year and a half later, whatever, I ended up syncing up with my new partner again, and it just sort of connected. He was telling me about his vision that he was wanting to do, and I it aligned perfectly with my vision of what I wanted to do. I had just sold my most recent business, uh, not for that much. It was like a quick little flash sale, and but it was enough to get me through to get started with my new partner, and here we are. We've been working at this business now consistently for, I don't know, 9, 10 months, and here we are. He's been in the game. He's been a real estate broker for 15 years or so. Born and bred in Arizona in the real estate world. His dad was a developer and investor for like 40 years in the real estate world. So he knows that world really well. And so we do a little bit of real estate development and investment, but then he also has a brokerage. And then we've got our own like podcast media coaching business. So yeah, there you go. It's a little bit about me and what I'm doing.
Got it. So your role in the real estate or in the Prana Capital, how do you fit in the Prana Capital? What do you do as president?
I kind of run point on the day to day. So, I mean, like Danny kind of oversees his real estate brokerage and real estate business that he's doing, and he's got people to help him on that side. But then on the other side, with the actual, like, you know, portfolio management, venture capital world, C2 way world, I run point on that. So I run all the day to day that happens over there, sales, marketing, you know, actually getting deals done, negotiating things with people, and then helping those portfolio companies grow and scale. That's what I do.
Got it. And Prana Capital, are you guys raising capital? Are you doing syndication? How are you? Describe what some of your investments, or you mentioned some development. Uh, Give me a little example of what some of the deals you guys are doing.
So Prana Cap doesn't raise cash in Prana Cap. Used to be called Cotta Cap, Cotta Capital, and now it's Prana Capital. It doesn't raise any cash to the entity. We kind of go on a deal by deal basis. So, I mean, we'll go after like a specific real estate deal or a specific company. And if that company needs cash, we would raise for that specific deal. And yeah, we would set up like an SPV. We've got a group out of Utah. Um, Shout out to Savvy Legal. Those dudes are amazing. And yeah, we're getting started with those guys this year. This year, we're going to be doing a bunch of SPVs with those guys. Yeah.
And as far as like some of the individual investment opportunities, um, can you describe kind of the array, or how wide you guys go, or do you have a particular asset class you like, or kind of what do you see on your horizon?
We're super opportunistic. I think a big problem in today's climate with investors, specifically in like big institutional groups, venture capital and private equity, is they're too rigid and too like by the buy box, and they'll let really good deals completely, you know, pass them by. We'll stay opportunistic. I mean, we got two land deals out in West Phoenix. We're looking at one south of Phoenix. I mean, we're looking at doing like small subdivisions. We're looking at doing like retail strips. We're looking at doing like ranches. You know, we'll we'll. I mean, we'll look at anything honestly, as long as there's an opportunity there to get a good return. And then and then we also will go after like retail concepts and venture capital. So like we're working on building a Zen Warrior Lab, which is a unique gym concept, and like a Zen Warrior Cafe, which is a unique cafe concept. So yeah, we're not stuck to one thing.
Got it. Got it. So let's talk a little bit about the topic, aligning your heart and your mind. Um,
Yeah.
Can you, I guess, first describe what you mean by that?
What I mean by that is the body is divided up into seven energy signals throughout the entire human body. This is the way God, built your body. You've got your crown, you've got the sacral, you've got all of the different energy signals throughout the body. Your heart, your mind, your throat, your abdomen, right? There there's actually like a life force that lives in that part of your body, right? The concept of aligning your heart and your mind is the concept of living in a state of true consciousness and true alignment of your your gut and your heart and your mind in unity together. How does that actually work? Well, here's how that actually works. Through breath, through mindful movement, through mindful nutrition, through um, wisdom reading, scripture, prayer, throughout doing these different practices that actually activate these different parts of your body to help create alignment. And there's an actual like scientific backing that backs this stuff up. Like for example, serotonin actually lives and is created in the gut, and it only can go to the heart when the vagus nerve is activated. Well, how do you activate the vagus nerve? Breath. Breath is the key to all of this. So when you practice breath, the vagus nerve gets then activated, and then it can allow things like serotonin to pump up. Well, what also pumps up? Blood. You can have, and that's where things like BDRF and EDRF and all that stuff actually happens, right? Is through breath and through the activating the vagus nerve, so that it actually, creates a union, a pathway between the heart and the mind. So when we will practice breath work daily, we'll do yoga daily, mindful nutrition daily. You know, we do these practices every single day. Well, why do we do these things now? I just told you some of the scientific application of how it works. Well, now why? Why would we want to do it like that? Because when you do it like that, it puts you in a state of calmness and peace and awareness and overall centeredness that allows you to not operate from a space of chaos and anxiety and transactional nature, right? You get out of the disconnected transactional viewpoint of how you operate with human beings, and recognize that every person you interact with each day is a spiritual, harmonic, and energetic being, not just flesh and bones. This is an actual life force that was made by God, right? So we are on a mission to transform transactional relationships into spiritual, harmonic, and energetic connections. And even though in the real estate world specifically, it's probably one of the most transactional industries on the face of the human earth. Now, what does that mean when I say stuff like transactional? I'm talking about the very nature of saying, hey, this is a client. You see this a lot. This is a client, and you're instantly only viewing it as the deal, not the person. I just want to say whatever I need to do to say to respond, not to understand. I want to say what I need to do till I can get the deal done and then move on to the next deal, rather than actually have a connection with the person and build something with the person. And I've seen the difference between a real estate broker, for example, who operates from the heart and the mind, and a real estate broker who operates from the transactional. The transactional will burn through people because they're not, you know, closing the deal quick enough, or they're, wasting their time, quote unquote, or they'll just get somebody in a crappy lease because they're kind of taking advantage of them, and they're just getting them in whatever lease they can, and then it's move on to the next. And I'm not going to help make sure you're in a situation you can actually get off the ground. And then I've also seen people operate from the other side, where it's counseling with the client and actually building a connection with them, and finding the actual best property for them, and in some cases actually realizing they're not really ready for a property at all, and not looking at it as a waste of time that they spent on them, instead looking at it as an investment in the person that will then come back later with abundance, right? I hope this kind of helps give like a bit of an answer. This is what we do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. No, I've heard it often referred to as almost like farming or gardening or something like that, where you kind of nurturing, and not so much the self, but the customers, like what you were saying about, instead of viewing it just purely as a transaction, as a, they know people, and if you treat them right, they'll tell people about you, and kind of a, as a farmer will kind of water and weed and, do whatever they have to try and make sure they have a good crop. You kind of treat the people you work with as kind of your plants or your crop or whatever, and I don't mean to, suggest people are plants, but just the whole nature of the nurturing of the relationship, kind of thing. And yeah, I get that. I think I think people can sense or smell desperation real easy. So if you're in a transactional mode, and it's all about getting the transaction done, and you got to get it because there's something bad's going to happen if you don't make the deal, then that's not good. And just to be at peace with yourself, I think that to me would be the the biggest benefit, is being at peace with yourself, and also how that attracts others. There's an attraction piece about that. When you're
Yes.
when you're in a good place, people want to be around that, as opposed to somebody who's in a panic, or trying to suggest there's something that they're not, or not being genuine. Uh, yeah, I get all that.
100%. Attraction again. Yes, I love that you said that, because attraction is the name of the game of why we do the way we do. Because people will be like, "Well, I don't. You want to just get the deal done?" I'm not saying I don't want to make deals. I like making deals. I like getting deals done. But when you operate from a transactional nature, you're actually limiting the number of deals you'll get done, and you're limiting the success of those deals. We've act we've actually proven it with our side. I mean, I told you a little bit about my partner. My partner freaking has done billions in real estate, right? Like, how? Through this process, right? Literally, like, you build real connections with people, and you let those people realize that, like, hey, this friendship is a lot deeper than just this real estate deal. They'll keep coming back to you, and they'll keep sending you off to other people, right? Like, but I always state though that operating like this starts within. This isn't just you need to operate like this. Well, to operate like that, it actually does start with within. You have to actually do the work within to align yourself, ground yourself, so then you can actually do that. Because if you never take the time to actually work on yourself, you'll never be able to truly sustain operating in this kind of more of a conscious approach.
Yeah, no, true. Definitely have experienced the both sides of that. Um, and I think having some sort of success, and also some sort of a sense of self, uh, can again, it's something that people pick up on, and it also just it helps, people understand that you're in this for the long haul. It's not just you're doing this today. You might be selling vacuums tomorrow, or cars, or whatever kind of thing. But
Exactly.
there's a there's a commitment, to the long, the long haul. I'm curious, in this, is an individual, um, sometimes there are limitations that as an individual we have, that we will either make bigger than what they are, or are the customer may see them as bigger than what they are. Do you find that the being genuine and having this alignment, is there also a filter that you recognize that they're not everybody's going to be a good fit, meaning there are certain people that they're either not a good fit to do business with, or they're not going to be similarly aligned, or does the alignment on my end have any kind of requirement or need for people on the receiving end to be similarly aligned in order for it to be a good fit?
I'll say this. This is my experience. This is just the mouth of Chris. This isn't anything else. For me at least, I have found that if you are operating on a higher level of energy, this energy we're talking about of consciousness, it's truly coming from a state of authenticity, right? It's getting out of shame and guilt and moving into more of a state of authenticity. When you're operating from authenticity or true consciousness, those that are operating from that similar level or are truly aspiring to be operating from that level will be attracted to you. Those that are not, that are operating from guilt and shame or chaos, will be repelled. And it will become very obvious very quickly within an interaction if they're operating from more of a chaos, guilt, and shame kind of wavelength. And so I think it works as like the ultimate sorting hat for whether or not it's going to be a good business deal or not.
Well, and just from a kind of a self-selector, or almost also like a filter. How many people how many of us would rather deal with somebody that is genuine as opposed to somebody that's just transactional, and would just as soon work with somebody else that comes along if they're cheaper, or their word means nothing, kind of thing. And so sometimes when things are kind of slow, it can be tough to see that if you'll stay the course and continue doing the work, the rewards will come. But if you have some sort of success and are able to stay in that genuine space and recognize the quality of the people you're dealing with, it makes, I would think that it makes for life to be a lot more rewarding, a lot more fulfilling than if it's just transactional.
Yeah, I would agree. Definitely way more rewarding when you operate like this. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So how do you see that people, you mentioned nutrition, yoga, is there any kind of a program approach to this, or is this kind of, you can seek and find things that work, or is there like a prescription or a method to stay on this kind of a path?
Great question. Great question. So, last year when we actually started to really launch the C2A, Danny had been working on this for like 2 years, 2.5 years or whatever. He actually built a curriculum, and he still has the curriculum. Last summer, we actually launched the curriculum as like a for sale product online, but then we quickly took it off selling because we were like, didn't really seem like a fit to like be trying to push this as a for sale product. It's just more something that we do, and those that want it, we can give it to them, type of thing. But I mean, there is a level of flexibility though as well, of kind of finding the thing that fits you best, right? So it's just finding something that fits each of the different set of energy signals. Like, what do you use for wisdom reading? Well, I mean, that's pretty flexible. I mean, it could be actual scriptures. It could also be a book, that you find that's really helpful to you. That's not so cookie cutter where it's like, hey, everyone read this. No, this isn't like a cult or anything. You can read whatever the hell you want to read. Um, Mindful nutrition, same kind of thing, dude. Whatever feels best for you. The main trick with mindful nutrition is being truly aware and in tune with your body and what your body wants and needs, how much food you need, when you need it, and what food. What is your body actually telling you? I lost 50 pounds last year, dude, using this methodology. I have a bit of a weird diet than most people would probably call it. Like, I eat pretty much whatever the heck I want to eat. I had pie for breakfast. Yet I still lost weight last year and I've been maintaining it. But I'm very in tune with the portion size, and I'm very in tune with how much and when, right? So I'm in a little bit of a routine now of like, I know how much I'm going to eat. I have the exact hour of the day I'm going to eat, and then I don't eat the rest of the day because I'm in tune with my body and I know what it is, what I'm doing. I'm eating more than I ever used to eat, but I'm still losing weight.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
knowing when to and portions, that's good. Are you doing any specific exercise? You mentioned yoga.
Yeah. So yeah, then there goes to the exercise pieces. It's like mindful movement, right? Well, mindful movement can be whatever works for you, right? For me, I walk a lot throughout the day. I'll also do a couple times a week. I'll go run. Trying to get my bike fixed. I'm gonna start biking again. Um, I do yoga multiple times a week. Basic calisthenic stuff, push-ups, sit-ups every day. That's it. That's my exercise. I don't go to a gym, but
Yeah.
not like I bike or run like in a routine excess. I'll run somewhere between 1 and 3 times a week for 30 minutes max. Right. But then I walk uh, consistently throughout the day, because one of the keys of mindful movement is its consistency. Consistently moving, keeping your body in motion throughout the day is better for you than exercising for a block hour or two. Whatever that consistency thing is that you're going to do, it's up to you. But the key is moving your body throughout the day in some form of fashion is better for you than just like a block exercise time.
So how do you do that in a work environment? Do you just build in breaks? Do you just get up out of your chair and go for a walk? What are you doing?
Well, so for me, um, I'm in a job where, I mean, I do a lot of phone calls throughout the day. And instead of sitting for those calls, I get up and walk around when I do those calls. Well, that works for me. Um, Danny, he just creates blocks of like a meeting, and then I notice with him, he's always moving. Excuse me, he's always moving, but he's more just like meetings, and then he'll have like an hour off, and then a meeting, and then another hour off, and all throughout to the end of the night. So it's whatever works best for you for your setup. But for me, I'm on calls, and I found a way to get really good at taking those calls as I walk around and move. And I mean, it works great for me.
Good. So we've talked a lot about it, but the benefits. What do you see as some of the challenges for people to do this, or to find and to, I guess, not just find it, but to maintain it, to stay on course?
I mean, there's lots of challenges. I mean, number one challenge is just going to be when you into the everyday grind and routine of the work, school, stress, family kind of environment. It's going to be real easy to like not go into like brain dead mode, or like spaceman mode, where you'll just go through the motions, and then you'll get to the end of the day and like be like, oh shoot, I haven't been doing my I didn't I missed stuff today. And then it's real easy to then have like guilt and shame creep in, be like, oh, I screwed up, or I'll do better. You can easily go down those nasty rabbit holes. So that's probably the biggest thing that gets in the way. um I've experienced that myself firsthand recently. um the next thing would be, just the people you surround yourself with. You are the average of the five closest people to you. So if the people that you've surrounded yourself with are kind of negative naysayers to this stuff, they're going to dictate you heavily on what your day-to-day routines are and habits are. you know so be very careful with who you surround yourself with. Are these people going to encourage you to be able to do things that will create a positive impact on your life, or are they going to try to tear you down? Because crabs in a bucket will never let another crab get out of the bucket.
Yeah, that's true. So the elements to the program, then we've got diet, exercise. Um, you mentioned reading. Um, what is there a list, or is it kind of more of a pick and choose?
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
have the full, like, the full chart.
Okay. I appreciate that. All right. Well, hey, Chris, if we could, I'd like to shift gears for a second.
Yeah.
Uh, as I mentioned when we first got started, by day I'm an insurance broker, and as such, I work with my clients to assess risk and determine what to do with the risk. And there are three strategies we typically consider. We first look to see if we can avoid the risk. When that's not an option, we look to see if we can minimize the risk. And if we cannot avoid nor minimize the risk, we look to see if we can transfer the risk. That's what an insurance policy is. And as such, I like to ask my guests if they can look at their own situation. It could be your clients, investors, the local jurisdictions, the Fed, whatever it is that you identify and consider to be the biggest risk. And again, for clarification, while I am an insurance broker, I'm not necessarily looking for an insurance-related answer. And so if you're willing, I'd like to ask you, Christopher Schlierman, what is the biggest risk?
Uh, Two things. On a personal front, the person you marry is the biggest risk. On the professional front, it's choosing the place you're going to work. And that would go with investment too, of like who you're going to invest with, the person, not the company. Putting an emphasis on the people that you're going to align with. If you're going to partner with somebody, if you're going to go take a job from somebody, you're going to invest in somebody. There's a person behind it, right? Like it's always a person. You're investing in a company. Well, there's a CEO, there's a founding team. There's a real estate project that you're going to invest in. Well, there's somebody who's running point on managing that project. If it's taking a job somewhere, it's taking a job working for somebody. Whatever, there's always a person that's behind every deal. The biggest risk is always on the people side, whether it's personal or professional. It's, do you actually know this person, or now are you going to go in to, get in lockstep with this person? is always going to be the biggest risk.
That's definitely a well said and something I think everybody has experience with and can appreciate. So I appreciate you sharing that. Chris, where can the listeners go if they'd like to learn more or connect with you?
Yeah, we have the C2A Instagram page. Not the only one that's on that page, but I definitely do check it periodically. We also have, me on LinkedIn. You could find me on LinkedIn pretty easy. I think I'm the only Chris Schlierman in the whole entire planet. So I think if you search me on LinkedIn, I think I might be the only one who pops up. So it should be pretty quick and easy.
The Instagram C2A, is it the letter C or is it spelled out SEE?
It's the letter C and then the number two.
Okay.
And way. And then, you can find the C2A pretty quick and easy that way.
Got it. Well, Christopher Schlierman, I want to say thanks for taking the time today. I've enjoyed it, learned a lot, and look forward to doing it again soon.
Likewise. Love coming on the show. Thank you.
All right. For our listeners, if you like this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Remember, the more you know, the more you grow. That's all we've got this week. Till next time, thanks for listening to Commercial Real Estate Pro Network's CREPN Radio.
You're listening to CREPN Radio for influential commercial real estate professionals. For more information on this or any of our guests, like us on Facebook, CREPN Radio.